Do you ever wonder why some people just can't stand being around you? Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh, but let's be real. We all have those habits that secretly make people roll their eyes the moment we walk into the room. But should we care? Nobody likes to be looked down upon. Nobody enjoys being singled out. But should we really care? Well, Stoicism has a firm stance on the issue. A tough stance for tough people. You might not like it, but humankind has the itch to find problems even when there could be none, and to create problems when indeed there are none. This is especially the case with what others say or do about us. Common wisdom tells us it's better not to find problems in others and their opinions for our peace of mind. Stoic wisdom goes beyond this and suggests firmly that even when you do find those problems, it's best not to solve them, especially when it comes to other people's attitudes towards us, and specifically when they're being disrespectful to us or looking down on us. Instead, Stoic philosophy suggests we solve ourselves. Letting go is easy enough, not caring might just happen naturally, but going beyond, stop caring what others think is the real challenge and the best reward. To care about people looking down on you because you don't want to be looked down upon is a failure of reason. In today's video, we break down 7 awful habits that can instantly make others look down on you, to ditch these habits for yourself, and not to command the respect you think you deserve. You don't deserve anything because you don't need anything from others, because whatever you need you already have within you. If you appreciate what we're doing, do us a simple, free favor by hitting the subscribe button and make sure you don't skip any part of the video to get the mindfulness needed to correct your awful habits for yourself. Now let's get into it. This is real talk for tough people, the Stoic way. Don't skip it, don't rush it. Hook those earphones up and let things go. 1. Gossiping. Gossip is a strange thing, isn't it? On the surface, it seems so harmless, even entertaining. A quick exchange about someone's life, a funny story, a shared secret. But when you take a moment to pause and reflect, you'll realize that every time you engage in gossip, you're not only avoiding the real issues you need to face in your own life, you're also diverting your focus from the one person who should matter most to you, yourself. This isn't about thinking you're the center of the universe or putting yourself above others. Stoic philosophy makes it clear you're not the most important person in the world, but you are the person you have the most power over. So, when you choose to immerse yourself in the business of others, especially in ways that are harmful or against the greater good, you're missing a vital opportunity, the chance to practice self-reflection, to deal with your own stuff, and to align your actions with reason and virtue. Gossip is a weird distraction from your own issues. It's a seductive trap, leading you to believe that by dissecting the lives of others, you're gaining some sort of insight. But the truth is, the more you focus on what other people are doing wrong, the less energy you have to look inward, to see what needs fixing in your own life. And forget about fixing. Gossiping actively unravels the positive threads you've already woven. Think about your relationships with the people you love and care about. Even if the gossip isn't directed at them, the very act of engaging in surface-level, judgmental talk plants seeds of distrust and disconnection. It erodes bonds that took time to build. And then there's the most important relationship, your relationship with yourself. Every word of gossip poisons this relationship, filling you with insecurity, envy, and negativity, dragging you further away from inner peace. So why do we gossip? Sometimes it's a shortcut to connection, a way to relate to others quickly. But here's the reality. Gossip isn't harmless fun. It's an illusion of connection that creates a cycle of distrust. It never truly brings people closer. It creates walls. When others see that you're quick to talk about someone else's missteps or misfortunes, they become wary. They keep their conversations with you on a shallow level, afraid that their deeper thoughts and experiences might end up as the topic of your next chat. You might think you're bonding, but what you're actually doing is driving others away, keeping relationships stagnant and unfulfilling. However, let's take a step back and look at why the Stoics advise against gossip. It's not just about the external damage to your reputation or relationships, though those are certainly consequences. No, the real reason lies deeper. It's that gossip takes your attention away from the only business you should truly be concerned with: your own. Epictetus offers us a shift in perspective here. Instead of focusing on the actions, flaws, or lives of others, focus on yourself daily. Cultivate self-awareness, examine your intentions, and constantly refine your character. Why waste your energy on judging or talking about others when that energy could be spent becoming a better version of yourself? Why is this emphasis on avoiding gossip so critical to Stoic teachings? Because gossip is the epitome of surface-level talk. It keeps conversations shallow, keeping you from diving into deeper, more meaningful self-reflection. And it doesn't just harm others, it weakens you. Gossip scatters your focus, fills your mind with needless distractions, and prevents you from living a life of integrity and purpose. The Stoic path is about diving deep, getting to the root of your motivations, and having conversations that elevate, not tear down. Instead of gossiping, aim to have conversations that lift others up and inspire growth. Speak with intention, with the goal of creating deeper understanding, empathy, and connection. Cultivate a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose in your speech. Master your mind and choose words that reflect who you aspire to be, not words that drag others through the mud. In the end, the Stoic approach to speech is about freedom. Freedom from petty talk, freedom from judgment, and freedom from the noise that keeps you from being the person you're meant to be. So the next time you're tempted to engage in gossip, remember that the easiest person to talk about is also the most important person to talk to, yourself. Use that time to focus on what you can control, which is your actions, your thoughts, and your growth. That is where the real power lies, and that is how you live in harmony with the Stoic sense. 2. Being passive-aggressive. Passive aggression is like emotional dodgeball, a game nobody really wins. It feels safe to lob your frustrations from behind the shield of sarcasm, subtle digs, or icy silence, thinking you're avoiding the real issue. But in reality, you're just tossing emotional grenades at those around you, and there's no way for them to understand, respond, or resolve the underlying problem. It's exhausting, not just for you, but for everyone involved. Passive aggression feels like you're hiding, but what you're actually doing is creating confusion, tension, and resentment. And here's the truth about passive aggression. It doesn't come off as clever or tactful. It just makes you look difficult, manipulative, or just straight up childish. People start to see you as someone who can't say what they really mean, and honestly, that's hard to deal with. Think about it. Who wants to navigate through hidden messages or decipher cryptic behaviors to understand how someone feels? People aren't mind readers, and they shouldn't have to be. It's not fair to expect someone else to sift through your hints, body language, and avoidance to uncover your true emotions. At its core, passive aggression is rooted in fear of vulnerability. It's the feeling that expressing how you really feel, anger, disappointment, hurt, will lead to conflict or rejection. You think that by being indirect, you're protecting yourself from potential backlash, but in reality, all you're doing is hurting your relationships and damaging trust. The Stoics offer a perspective here. If your emotions are based on flawed reasoning and errors in judgment, then so is passive aggression. It stems from a miscalculation, The idea that conflict must be avoided at all costs, that emotions should be hidden, and that your needs aren't worth openly expressing. But suppressing your feelings only intensifies them. What starts as a small irritation grows into a storm of indignation, all while you're trying to play it cool. This internal battle feeds the very fear and shame you're trying to avoid. Instead of facing the problem head-on, you're trapped in a cycle of self-protection and self-sabotage, making things worse for yourself and for the people around you. Here's the Stoic truth. It's not someone else's job to guess your feelings. It's your job to communicate them. And while it may feel risky or uncomfortable to speak openly about your needs, desires, or disappointments, remember this. Focus on what you can control. You can't control how others will respond to your honesty, but you can control your choice to be clear, direct, and true to yourself. And surprisingly, when you do this, you build stronger relationships and more meaningful connections because people appreciate authenticity even when it's difficult to hear. The Stoics would encourage you to practice letting go of your fears around being disliked or judged. Care less about caring what others say and do about their opinions or how they might react to your honesty. It's natural to fear conflict, but avoiding it through passive aggression just adds layers of complexity to your interactions. Instead, make it a point to say what's on your mind. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, even daunting, but honesty is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And here's the beauty of leaving passive aggression behind. Things get better. When you stop playing emotional dodgeball and start engaging in real conversations, misunderstandings clear up, resentment fades, and your relationships deepen. You'll find that being upfront and vulnerable doesn't just resolve issues. It builds trust and respect. People know where they stand with you, and that kind of transparency is liberating for both you and them. So next time you feel yourself leaning into passive aggression, take a moment. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling? And what do I really need to say? Remember, control your mind and choose to face your emotions directly. Practice courage, one of the Stoic virtues, by speaking up honestly even when it's hard. Don't let passive aggression rob you of deeper, more meaningful connections. It's time to stop dodging and start living with clarity and truth. 3. Never taking responsibility. Shifting blame is like passing a hot potato. You think you're protecting yourself from getting burned, but in reality, you're just making it someone else's problem and dodging the truth that you don't want to face. It's a pattern of behavior that tells the world and yourself that you can't handle your own life. When you constantly point fingers, you deserve to be looked down upon because you're not taking responsibility for your actions. But let's be clear, it's not the judgment from others that's the problem. It's your refusal to hold yourself accountable, to own your choices, and to accept the consequences of your actions. Why do we shift blame? Because it feels comfortable. Blaming others, blaming circumstances, these are all excuses that shield us from feeling like we've failed. But this comfort comes at a cost. It traps us in a cycle of mediocrity, of stagnation, because every excuse we make reinforces the idea that our failures are beyond our control. And if that's true, then how could we ever improve? But here's the reality check. If everything's always someone else's fault, how are you ever going to get better? You won't. You're stuck. And you know deep down that maybe you didn't put in the effort, maybe you didn't try your best, maybe you could have done better. Responsibility is freedom. When you take responsibility for your actions and their outcomes, both good and bad, you reclaim your power. You become the driver of your own life, the one who has the power to change things, to grow, and to improve. When you own your mistakes, You create the opportunity to do something about them, and that is where growth happens. When you stop hiding behind excuses, you step into a place of truth and strength. And something amazing happens. People start respecting you more. They see that you're someone who faces challenges head-on, who doesn't pass the buck, who is willing to learn and grow. But here's the Stoic check. You don't take responsibility for the respect of others. You do it for you. The respect from others is a byproduct, not the goal. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote that we must live for ourselves, not to impress or seek validation from others, because that's the way things must be done. You shouldn't care about whether people look down on you, and by the same token, you shouldn't care about whether they respect you either. The Stoic path teaches that virtue, not reputation, is the aim. You take responsibility because that's what aligns with your principles and values. It's about living with integrity, about being true to yourself, regardless of how the world sees you. And there's a deeper benefit: trust. When you stop making excuses, people start trusting you more. They see you as reliable, as someone who will do the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable or challenging. And this trust isn't just external. You'll find that when you stop making excuses, you start trusting yourself more too. Every time you own up to a mistake, every time you say, "Yes, I could have done better," you're building inner confidence. You're proving to yourself that you can face reality, that you can handle whatever comes your way. You develop an internal strength that can't be shaken by external circumstances. Think of every moment you shift blame as a missed opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become better. Instead of running from your failures, face them. They're not obstacles, they're stepping stones. The more you take ownership of your actions, the more freedom you have to shape the course of your life. The Stoics believed that our true power lies in how we respond to the world, not in trying to control it. So stop giving away your power by blaming others. Own it fully and completely. Take responsibility for what's within your control and let go of the rest. This is what it means to be resilient in adversity. This is how you build inner resilience. It's about standing up and saying, "This is on me, and I will do better." And when you start living with that level of self-awareness and accountability, you not only improve yourself, but you inspire others to do the same. You shift the focus from external blame to internal empowerment. You live by Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and self-discipline, and that, ultimately, is the path to becoming the best version of yourself, free, strong, and unshakable. 4. Lack of basic hygiene. When we talk about hygiene, it's tempting to think it's all about how you smell, how others see you, or how you present yourself to the world. But let's take a moment to flip the script. It's not about commanding respect, it's about respecting yourself. Stoic teachings encourage us to focus on what we can control, and one of the simplest things we have control over is how we care for our own body. The way you maintain your hygiene is less about winning the approval of others and more about honoring yourself, valuing your health, and ensuring that you show up each day with clarity and self-respect. Consider the deeper purpose of good hygiene. Taking care of yourself is an act of self-respect, a way to say, "I matter." Don't mind what people will think, because people will always have opinions. They're going to judge, critique, and form conclusions based on their own assumptions. And as Stoic wisdom reminds us, we have no power over the opinions of others. Whether they think you're neglectful, responsible, or anywhere in between, that is their business, not yours. Your business is how you choose to take care of yourself. You don't maintain hygiene to get in their good books or to please anyone else. You do it because you understand that caring for yourself is fundamental to living well. Of course, being seen as clean, responsible, and well put together may earn you respect and positive impressions from others, but these are merely welcome side effects. They are not, and should not be, the main reason you focus on your well-being. The Stoics offer a perspective that we should act according to reason, not for applause. Your focus on hygiene, your health, and your overall well-being is driven by the understanding that you deserve to be treated well by yourself first and foremost. This is not an act of vanity, but of discipline and a recognition that the way you take care of your body is essential to functioning effectively with the world, with other people. To truly practice Stoic philosophy, you don't let yourself be guided by the superficial approval or disapproval of others. You focus on what you can control: your body, your habits, and your actions. And this practice is deeper than just good hygiene. It's about building habits that reflect self-awareness and self-respect. When you shower, brush your teeth, or wear clean clothes, it's not about following some unwritten rulebook of social norms. It's about showing up to life prepared, focused, and mindful of your own needs and the needs of those around you. It's knowing that you're contributing to the world in the best possible state you can be in. Stoicism isn't self-help. It's not a quick fix to make you appear better to others or a tool to ensure social acceptance. It's wisdom to transcend perceived problems altogether. The idea is to rise above the small, external worries, whether that's what others think of you or whether your appearance meets some arbitrary standard. So when you practice hygiene, don't do it with the intention of impressing someone or proving something. See it for what it truly is: a foundational habit for your well-being, rooted in self-respect, balance, and living in accordance with nature. It's easy to reduce philosophy to slogans or superficial actions, to water down its teachings into catchy phrases or feel-good affirmations. But Stoicism calls for something deeper: to live with purpose, to align your actions with your principles, and to do so without attaching yourself to the opinions or validation of others. So treat the wisdom of Stoicism as something that guides you to live a life of integrity, not as a means to a superficial end like approval. To dilute its wisdom with a deodorant is to miss the point. It's not about just looking or smelling good to others. It's about being good to yourself, acting with intention, and maintaining habits that support your clarity, focus, and well-being. So, the next time you're taking care of your hygiene, let it be a practice of self-respect, of grounding yourself in the knowledge that you deserve to be well. Let it be a moment of mindfulness, a reminder that every action, no matter how small, is an opportunity to align yourself with the Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control. This is how you embody the principles of Stoicism, not by seeking the praise of others, but by seeking to be the best version of yourself for you and, as a natural extension, for the world around you. 5. Constant complaining. Constant complaining, it's draining, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Imagine being stuck in a room with a constantly dripping faucet. The noise isn't deafening, but it's persistent. Eventually, it wears you down. Complaining is just like that drip, drip, drip of negativity. When you're always focusing on what's wrong, on what's lacking, or on what's unfair, you don't just make your life difficult, you create tension and discomfort for those around you too. It's like showing up to every situation as a dark cloud, ready to rain on whatever positivity might exist. And that negativity is contagious. People feel it, they absorb it, and they start carrying a bit of that weight themselves. Why should you care? Not because you're afraid people will avoid you, though that is often the case. You should care because constant complaining is self-destructive. It's as if every complaint is a small cut to your mental well-being, and over time, these cuts add up. And here's the truth, you're hurting yourself when you don't have to, when you can simply stop hurting yourself. When you constantly verbalize the negative, you're reinforcing it within your own mind. You're teaching your brain to only see what's wrong, training it to search for the flaws, the mistakes, the disappointments. And guess what? You'll find them every time. And it doesn't just end with you. The people closest to you, your family, your friends, your co-workers, they also feel the impact of your complaints. Maybe you think they're just words, harmless venting, but those words have power. Your negativity seeps into your interactions, and it can hurt the people you care about. And then, of course, that comes back to hurt you even more. You might find them distancing themselves, emotionally shutting down, or even beginning to mirror your complaints. It creates a vicious cycle where your negativity feeds theirs and their negativity feeds yours. Constant complaining, hence, can be better understood as a cycle of negativity, a self-perpetuating loop that can be hard to escape once you're in it. Think about it. If you constantly look for what's wrong, that's all you'll see. It's like wearing tinted glasses that block out all the color of life, leaving you with a bleak and gray world. Even the good things lose their vibrancy because your mind is primed to focus on what's missing or what's flawed. And this affects your overall mood, mindset, and ultimately your actions. It's like an echo chamber of negativity, where every complaint you make bounces back and reinforces the belief that everything is indeed bad. But let's step back for a moment. What lies beneath all this complaining? Often, constant complaining is a symptom of a deeper issue, a mask for something bigger. Maybe you feel overwhelmed, maybe life feels out of control, or perhaps you feel that you're not living up to your own standards. Complaints can become an outlet, a way to voice that inner struggle without directly facing it. But here's the thing, the more you complain, the more you amplify those feelings of stress, overwhelm, and helplessness. You're not finding a solution, you're magnifying the problem. So what's the alternative? Constantly focusing on what's wrong stops you from seeing what's right. This is where Stoic wisdom provides a powerful shift in perspective. Practice gratitude. When you focus on the good, when you take time to acknowledge even the smallest positive in your day, you start retraining your mind to see the world differently. Gratitude is the antidote to complaining. It's like switching those tinted glasses for a clear lens, suddenly allowing you to see the beauty, the kindness, the moments of joy that were always there, but had been buried under layers of negativity. It doesn't mean you ignore the challenges or pretend everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that in every situation, there are things you can appreciate, things that can make you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The Stoics would remind you that while you can't control every external situation, you can control your perspective. And that means choosing to see what's right just as much, if not more, than what's wrong. And there's a ripple effect. The more you practice finding what's good, the less you feel the need to complain. Your focus shifts, your energy shifts, and soon the people around you will feel that shift too. Instead of bringing others down with complaints, you'll start lifting them up with positivity. You'll inspire them to find their own reasons to be grateful, to see the light in their own challenges. You don't just transform your own experience of life, you bring that positivity into their lives as well. So take a moment to pause when you feel the urge to complain. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for in this moment? Or what lesson can I learn from this situation? Practicing this simple shift can break the cycle of negativity and open you up to a world where the good is just as evident as the bad. You don't have to be a dark cloud. You can be a ray of light for yourself and for those around you. 6. Being chronically late. You're never fashionably late. You're just late. It's a hard truth that needs to be said. There's nothing chic, elegant, or cool about it. The idea that being late makes you seem stylish or interesting is a myth. In reality, it's simply inconsiderate. And the consequences? They're more than just being behind schedule. They reflect how you interact with others, how you approach life, and frankly, how you value your time and the time of those around you. When you're late, you're not just behind the clock, you're potentially missing out on the good stuff that can happen. The introductions, the conversations, the opportunities that may have been waiting for you if you had only arrived on time. And here's the thing, you might not even realize what you're missing. Every time you arrive late, you run the risk of being oblivious to all the things you bypass. The moments of connection, the chance encounters, the opportunities to show up fully and make a difference. You don't just miss out on an event, you miss out on life. And it's not just about you. When you're late, you communicate, whether intentionally or not, that you don't value other people's time. It suggests that your schedule, your agenda, is more important than theirs. And while they may smile and say, "It's fine," if this lateness becomes a pattern, they may begin to question the sincerity of your respect for them. And once they see that this is how you operate, they start to make adjustments. They stop sharing their time as freely as they once did. They may start rescheduling, canceling, or simply stop making plans with you altogether. It's not about them avoiding you out of resentment. It's about people naturally gravitating toward those who respect their time and make the effort to be present. Chronic lateness isn't just a logistical issue. It often masks something deeper. For some, it may be about a lack of respect for others, but for many, it's a way of avoiding responsibility, commitment, or confrontation. Think about it. How often are we late because we're dragging our feet, hesitating to face something we'd rather avoid? Maybe we don't want to be fully present in a situation because it feels uncomfortable, stressful, or unfamiliar. Sometimes, lateness becomes a buffer, a way to lessen the impact of being fully in whatever is happening. Sure, there are times when being late is just a result of poor time management or a bad sense of how long things will take. But more often than not, it's deeper. It's about fear. Fear of showing up, fear of what might happen, or fear of what's expected of us. We use lateness as a shield, an excuse to stay on the edges of life rather than stepping right into it. And in doing so, we don't just inconvenience others, we shortchange ourselves. We avoid being fully present, which means we miss out on meaningful connections, deeper conversations, and opportunities for growth. So, what's the solution? Don't be late, and make it a habit never to be late. Step up your game. Think about it like building a muscle. It starts with small steps. If you're someone who constantly finds yourself arriving after the start, try setting your clocks 5 minutes ahead. Plan your outfit the night before so there's one less decision to make in the morning. If you're attending an event, make it a point to leave earlier than you think you need to. Give yourself that extra cushion of time. It's not about making dramatic, life-altering changes overnight. It's about creating small, consistent habits that help you value not only your time, but also the time of those around you. And here's the reward. It pays you back in the long run. And it's not just about gaining respect, though. That will often be a byproduct. It's about showing that you can be counted on, that you care enough to show up not just physically, but mentally and emotionally prepared. It's about creating space for deeper, more meaningful interactions, because when you're on time, you're ready, present, and engaged. Remember, being on time is about aligning your actions with Stoic virtues of discipline, respect, and presence. It's about honoring the moment and showing up fully without excuses or distractions. And when you cultivate this habit of being on time, it ripples into other areas of your life. You become more reliable, more trustworthy, and more attuned to the needs of those around you. It's not just about respecting others, it's about respecting yourself, your commitments, and the moments that make life rich and meaningful. So take those small steps. build that muscle, and watch how showing up on time changes not just your schedule, but your whole approach to life. 7. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is a habit that sneaks up on us when we least expect it. It's comfortable, familiar, and, let's face it, a pretty convenient way to avoid the hard work of self-reflection. Think about it. When you adopt a victim mentality, everything that goes wrong is someone else's fault. Your boss is impossible, your partner doesn't understand you, and the world seems like it's conspiring against you. You're never at fault, never responsible, always the victim. But here's the kicker. Playing the victim is the enemy of growth, and the root of this habit lies in shirking responsibility. It's a toxic cycle. When things go wrong, it's easy to throw your hands up and say, "Why does this always happen to me?" rather than ask, "What role did I play in this, and what can I learn from it?" It's tempting because it feels safer than facing the uncomfortable truths about ourselves. However, Stoic wisdom cuts right through this illusion. By applying Stoic principles, we begin to see that playing the victim is just a cloak of perpetual doom, a way of hiding from reality, shirking responsibility, and keeping ourselves stuck in a mindset of helplessness. Stoic philosophy teaches that you must look at everything critically, but most importantly, look at yourself. It's about asking the hard questions and facing the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. When you practice the Stoic teachings, you stop viewing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that happens for you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the core of overcoming the victim mentality, realizing that the way you perceive challenges is entirely within your control. When you're always looking for someone to blame, you're not looking for solutions, you're not growing, you're stuck. Blaming others is easier than taking accountability, but it's a shallow relief. It keeps you from developing resilience and hinders your personal growth. The Stoics offer a perspective that radically shifts this mindset. View obstacles as opportunities. The obstacle is the way. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can this challenge make me stronger?" Stepping out of the victim role doesn't mean denying your struggles or pretending everything is fine. It means taking responsibility for your responses and focusing on what you can control. It means recognizing that your hardships are there to mold you, to test you, and to make you better. This shift in perspective is empowering. It breaks the cycle of helplessness and ushers in a new sense of control over your life. When you stop playing the victim, you don't escape life's challenges. Those will always be there. But you do change how you respond to them. You move from passivity to action, from helplessness to empowerment. It's about embracing responsibility, no matter how uncomfortable it may be, because that's where genuine growth begins. The next time you catch yourself saying, "Why me?" flip the script. Ask, "What can I learn?" Or, "How can I grow from this?" By taking ownership of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you break free from the constraints of victimhood. You develop resilience. You cultivate inner strength. You find that even in adversity, there's room to learn, to adapt, and to overcome. This is the power of Stoicism. It's not about making life easier. It's about making you stronger. It's about replacing the mindset of "everything is happening to me" with the mindset that everything is happening for me. You master yourself, and in doing so, you master your life. And that, in essence, is how you transform your challenges into the path forward, the way to become unshakable. If you like what we do, feel free to do more by liking and sharing the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, to the community. How, you ask? By hitting that like button as a symbol of your commitment to change. by subscribing to join a community where wisdom isn't just shared but lived to help us create powerful stuff. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, the gentle chime of a Stoic philosopher reminding you to return to this space of learning and growth. Each like, each subscription, each notification is a step towards a collective awakening. And if you feel that stirring in your heart, a resonance with the words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus, share this video. That will help us immensely in continuing to create unique and powerful stuff for the community. Everything changes when you truly hear what Stoicism has been telling us all along. Everything gets better. Your self-discipline, your self-control, your temperance, your cultivation of inner peace and resilience, your self-awareness, your equanimity. You practice forgiveness more often. You stop caring what others think. You start to live with a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose. Even the practice of Stoic principles of the dichotomy of control, negative visualization, memento mori, amor fati, and the view from above gets easier and, more importantly, effective.